So good evening once again.
Good
It's
evening,
a
Michael.
pleasure to have you here again. I hope that the last time we met, I hope that was good use of time. That's what
Yeah.
I hope. Okay, so without wasting time, let's quickly go into a few things that we'll be talking about today. So in the last session, what I was trying to do was to kind of set a baseline, to kind of, you know, ruffle the waters a little bit, get clarity on what I call basic questions, regarding any interview. So that's why we started with the HR questions like, why are you applying for this role? Tell me about yourself. Um, you know, why are you leaving your current role? Why Linama? Those are questions that ideally, those are baseline questions that whether you are asked or not, you should be ready and prepared to answer those questions. And I think we've done a pretty good job to address those questions. And we went ahead to take a little bit of business analysis based questions. We talked about, how would you elicit requirements? How would you do training, workshop? How would you, train junior BA since this is a senior BA role, right? And so today we are going to go a little bit on the other side because, in my opinion, I see two domains in this job description. I see the role of a business analyst, which is things like define scope objectives, prepare functional process charts, gather requirements. Those are standard, right? And then there's now also a little bit of project management. So where you are now doing things like follow the PPLM, which is like the project life cycle. It's just that I think this is a proprietary methodology within Linama, which is fine, but I'm hoping that it will be aligned with industry best practice. So like the project management life cycle, starting all the way from project initiation onto project delivery, right? And then they are talking a little bit about QA, which is again tells you they are following the software development life cycle, SDLC. And then,
So, sorry, can I quickly chip in
yes,
something?
please go ahead.
So, I remember that last time we met, we discussed a lot, but we didn't actually discuss the points about why am I leaving my current role.
Okay, so you remember that was supposed to be one of the questions.
Question that I should have answered.
Yes, because technically all those questions, I try to get them out of the way even before we meet because it's not
Mm,
really the best use of time if you only
mm,
had me for 1 hour. We can
mm.
spend the whole 1 hour answering that question, right? So you
Children.
can go and Google these people so
Yeah.
that you know what they do. And then that can now become, a one-liner you can throw in that, you know what, I'm so impressed the way you guys give back.
To the children.
Like I
Yeah.
saw that you handed over a check of over
Mm,
$130,000 to the
mm.
Guelph Welsh Wish Fund for
Which
Children. Now,
children?
depending what you find online, if the
Mm-hmm.
conversation is going well, you can ask that why is Linama particularly interested in that charity organization? It
Mm,
just is an offline question, as in, it's just something to so that everything will just be serious, 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 right?
mm,
So those are ways that you can. It's like as if you're extending a hand of friendship. So
mm.
they will now realize that, oh, you actually did some homework because
Mm,
it's not written anywhere, right? Is it written
mm,
anywhere that And then you just be like, wow, that was good. That you also went in and said, oh, you to go and look for them. What do they do? Those Guelph, Welsh, whatever. But
mm.
Guelph is a town in Ontario, so what?
Right.
Anyway, so you just do the same thing for the other ones. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's just something, it may come up, it may not come up, but it's just good to have in your back pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, you were talking about finance. Now, so let's go back to the JD. What on
So,
finance do they need? And that was here. That was where I think they talked about gap. Was it here?
so I
No.
think you were asking me that what did I put in my resume that made
Yes.
them think me?
So,
I
yes.
think it's
So,
because of my current role in TD Bank. I told them that I'm
which
working as a
is,
business analyst in TD Bank. Of course, TD Bank is a financial organization. That is my current role now.
yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fair. But I'm
Mhm.
also now going back into, apart from the fact that, so don't also forget, financial systems, in my opinion, is also very vague.
Mm-hmm.
Financial system is very broad. Which
Mm-hmm.
financial system? Are you talking account receivables, payables,
Mm-hmm.
subledger, accounting,
Mm-hmm.
operations, whatever? So that's a very broad, but of course, it would be great
Mm-hmm.
if you are coming in with finance background, because as a
Mm-hmm.
business analyst, whatever project you are on will have a core domain. It can be health, IT, education, energy, power, gas, anything, right? So, but
Mm-hmm.
it's always good if you can speak the language. So, if it's a
Mm-hmm.
manufacturer, in this case, a manufacturing company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Manufacturing will have like, you have the whole like manufacturing life cycle,
Yes.
right from, on the conveyor belt, from when
Yep.
they produce this, they go. So there's also the language over there, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't know everything.
That's true.
And that's why the role of a BA would always continue to evolve,
Mm-hmm.
right? It all depends on the domain where you find yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people now try to just kind of um, hone their skills in a particular domain. So even
Mm-hmm.
though you are a BA, like
Yeah.
somebody like me, for quite a while now, I've been in the HR domain.
Okay.
It's just, and I'm just being deliberate. So
Okay.
whatever HR software you're talking about, I can speak to it
Stick to it. Okay.
because I've decided in the last 5, 7 years, I remained in the HR domain,
HR domain. Is it as
right?
a BA or as a what?
As a BA, as a test lead, as a project manager,
Oh,
I've
wow.
just been in that domain,
That
right?
domain. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
But again, I've had opportunity to be working other the multiple domains you can work in, the better for you as a professional. So
Okay.
that because a BA would always be engaged for any project, right? You don't
Mm.
determine what the project will be.
That's true.
But for someone like me, when I may have opportunity to choose,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to continue to choose HR projects.
HR project. Okay.
I'm just being deliberate about it,
Mhm. Okay.
right? But it
Mm.
doesn't mean I can't work as a BA in another domain. But it's
Yeah.
just
It's
easier
one
for me.
person.
When I
Yeah.
go for the interview,
Mm.
whatever application you are using, most likely I can speak to it.
I'll
I've
speak to
worked
it.
on it before. So you
Yeah.
look at me as a subject matter expert and you
In
rather want to
HR.
hire me.
HR
Yes.
domain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
HR domain. Again.
Mhm.
So anyways, so let's kick things off. So again, we were looking for finance here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here. So there's just one. So university degree. So do you have any degree in finance?
That is another thing that I wanted to discuss with you. See,
Mhm.
Michael, all the certifications that I put in that my resume, I don't get them all.
Yeah. So when I saw these things,
Uh-huh.
um,
The only
so
one I have is in science, and is my certification is even beyond science.
even this
I
you
don't
don't
have it. I
know,
don't.
but in my own personal opinion, I won't tell you what to do.
Okay.
I would just advise. I would say don't do that.
Okay.
That's what I would say, right? Because to be honest, this is huge.
Hmm.
This is not the kind of thing you just put in
Puts
just
anywhere.
because, yeah. This
Hmm.
most likely, if you give yourself the next 1 week, you can get certified in
And
this
get it.
guy.
Yeah.
No a
Okay.
problem. You can go and watch videos, in the community and go and write the exam. There are
Yeah.
brain dumps everywhere.
Yeah.
So, but something like this puts you in another category completely.
Hmm.
So, like I said, I wouldn't do that. Even worst case scenario, you say in view.
In
That's
view,
another
Abby.
way to kind of, because you don't know where it's going to get to, as in the whole interview process, right? So let's say
Hmm.
they end up hiring you and they now say, oh, by the way, you said you are PMP certified and you say
Can we,
yes.
can we see
More often than
your
not, more often than not, I don't think people would usually say, "Oh, let's see your." It's very rare. I've been outside I mean, I've been in the West now for almost 20 years, and
hmm.
not once has anybody asked me for any evidence to show that I have a
Hmm.
credential,
Hmm.
right? But even at that, by the time they now start throwing things at you based on your credential,
Hmm.
then you don't want to now look like as if, do you actually have this credential?
Hmm.
Right? So, in my opinion, I would say that if you really want or you think you need these certifications, then go do it. That's my 2 cents. You can do anything you want with that. Okay, let's keep going. All right. So
So finance.
now, so do you understand the software development life cycle? because that
I
kind of came up, and I just wanted to let's clear that part. Yeah.
yes. So I think I
So
mean,
give me so using a typical project.
mhm.
So let me ask this question this way. So can you share with me your role on a project from start to finish? And what were the activities you were involved in at every phase of that project?
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for that question. Um, because of my experience in multiple cross-disciplinary, sectors or domain, I've been involved in different projects, and I'm going to give you one example of one of the projects that I was involved in from beginning to end. And this was when I was working as a as a business analyst in a pharmaceutical company called AstraZeneca. So in that project, the company needed to, produce a, a software that will monitor the health parameters of patients remotely. So as a business analyst, first of all, I I started with the planning of that project. So first of all, it was the planning. I planned it. I did my elicitation planning with the stakeholders. And after that, after the planning, I was able to get the different stakeholders. I elicited the requirement from the stakeholders. And after doing that, I was able to create my as this diagram and the business requirement documents. And after doing that, I moved to the stage of the designing, which is now with the technology team. So the technology team designed or they built the software or the solution. And after they built it, they went on to the stage of the development of the solution, still part of the designing. And after doing that, I took back the design or the tool by doing a test. So this was like a manual testing because as the BA, I had to do a manual testing before the quantity analyst or before the solution testers had to do their own, user acceptance testing. So the testing was done. And after the testing was done, and we took the solution back to the stakeholders to, confirm and validate the use, the acceptance and the use of that solution, to get their satisfaction. So, of course, after all the stakeholders were on board, we got the sign-offs, from all the stakeholders, indicating their satisfaction of that project, of that tool. And after all those things were all done, then the tool was now deployed to the general public, which is now, of course, we released the tool, the software to the general public. And after releasing the tool, it didn't stop there. I had to still continue to maintain, provide support in the use of that tool, just in case there's any update, any support, after deployment support of that tool. And of course, we continue to maintain, we continue to update, and we continue to improve on that tool as the need be.
The concept of SDLC, right?
Mm,
And again, like I said, um, based on my knowledge of you, so SDLC is basically a methodology for software delivery. And we
mm,
can pick anyone. It doesn't really matter. As long as you understand it. So I just usually pick this one. And again, it doesn't matter. So planning, analysis, design, implementation, testing and integration, maintenance.
mm,
People can use different terminologies for each of them, but what matters is you understand the sequence,
mm,
which You did very well. You understood the sequence. Again, like I said, you look at this one here. If we just click on this one, you see it starts from here. Requirement definition. That's like planning. Okay, there's even planning here. So planning, this analysis,
Mm-hmm.
design, the implementation, testing, deployment, operation and maintenance, which was what you were saying at the end. So
Yep.
it doesn't matter what language you use. It just matters that you are saying it with confidence as though you've actually worked on it.
Mm.
I can say all these things without even mentioning the names here. I can say it in 10 different ways because I understand it inside out, right?
Mm.
I can explain it to a 2-year-old, I can explain it to a 10-year-old, and I can explain it to a full grown man,
Mm.
right? Now, what we're missing, so key things that we're missing was number one, we don't use we. There was a lot of we did. We did. No, I don't want what we did because we are not hiring we. We are hiring you. What
Okay.
did you do? That was my question. So first and foremost, this is not where you want to consolidate and say, oh, I want to be a team player. No, we are not hiring your team. We're hiring you. So what did you do? Now, for starters, the SDLC is something you must always have in your back pocket. And that's why I tell every candidate. If you can understand the concept of SDLC, you can answer any interview scenario question. Because
Mm.
at the end of the day, don't forget, more often than not, in this day and age, everything is project based.
Mm.
Everything. So when you are answering a question, I always tell people, and those that catch it early, they just tell me, Mike, that was the greatest thing you ever taught me. They don't come back because you don't have to. When anybody asks you any question, just follow this cycle. So, thank you for that question. This brings to mind a project I was on. More often than not, don't mention company names. It's not relevant. It's okay. I know I told you, mention the project. The company is in your resume anyway. Save time. So, while I was working for a multinational pharmaceutical company, you don't need to mention AstraZeneca. If they want to know, let them go and look at your resume. Give them some work to do, right? But you want to be, again, you see, language is key. You look at the way I came in. This brings to mind a project I worked on while working at a multinational pharmaceutical company. On this project, my role was that of a business analyst, and the project was about implementing a tool to monitor vital health parameters for a patient. In my role as the business analyst, so we need to know the project. We need to know your role upfront so that we don't guess. We don't get, what are you doing exactly? No, we don't have to guess. You tell us. So those two are out of the way. Then the next thing is you now want to try and give us a perception of people you work with. So let me ask you now, if I say, oh, hello, how are you doing? You tell me, fine, thank you. How is your family? Oh, they are doing well. My wife, my 3 kids, they are all doing wonderfully well. If we are very close, I'll ask you about the names of your kids one by one. What am I doing? I'm showing that we are friends, we are intimate, I know your family members. That's the same way you need to portray yourself on a project. You don't need to mention names, but you need to mention roles. You did it a little bit, but you need to sound convincing. If truly you were working on a project with people, would you really not know them? Would you not remember you worked with them? I collaborated with the project manager in a brainstorming session to work on the budget for the project or to come up with the resource allocation and utilization that will be required on the project. Because don't forget, whenever you're going for a BA role, always want to paint the picture that you also know a little bit of project management. They go hand in hand. Because the day the PM is not there, the next candidate to stand in for the PM is the BA. So you want to project yourself as a BA that understands project management. And that's part of this role as well. So when you are talking, again, remember when I said the JD remains your compass. So they want to see your ability of project management. They've already mentioned QA, and then they mentioned a bit of decision makers. That's most of the time is the PM that does that. But even for you too, you need to get sign off, which you mentioned. But what you failed to mention in order to make your story convincing was that you need to be mentioning the roles of the people you were working with. It's very key because it makes it more believable. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. What are the key roles in every project? You need a project manager if it's waterfall. If it's not waterfall, it's agile, then you must have a scrum master. You have a product owner. If it's waterfall, you have subject matter experts, right? If
Yes.
it's agile, you have the dev team. The dev team consists of developers, the QA, and maybe technical consultants. You have data analyst, data conversion lead. You have training. You have OCM, organizational change management, right? So these are different roles. Now, by the time you start talking like that, it will be like, wow, this guy, he's worked in a standard organization. So if I were to answer that question using the same example that you did, I'm there, right? It's like, yeah, it brings to mind. The first thing I had to do was to ensure that there was a clear understanding of what the current state process is. And for me to be able to get that clear understanding and document it accurately, I had a plan to elicit that current state from relevant stakeholders. I engaged them by their functional areas, and I was able to document their Z's functionality. Once this was done, and I had come up with the business requirement document, I had to take it back to them in a meeting where I was trying to get their buy-in for correctness, for accuracy, and for completeness. Once I was able to do that, I handed over the business requirement document to the technical consultants, whose responsibility was to come up with the technical design. Because you're a BA, you're not a technical BA, right? So, like you said, design. So we've done planning, analysis, then design. Did I mention them? But can't you figure it out? That's what I'm saying. I don't even need to mention them because the sequence remains the same. Whether you are in Shanghai, China, or Honolulu in Hawaii, or you are in sub-Saharan Africa, the nomenclature, the principles remain the same. If you that you are listening to me, you don't understand it, shame on you, right? Then the technical design was also brought to the fore. And I, as the BA, again, let us know what's your role as the
Can I pause you? Can I
yes,
pause you there? So
yes,
just to get more clarity. So
yeah,
as you are talking, you talked about the planning,
yeah,
you know, the planning which you got the project charter from the project
yeah,
manager, right?
yeah,
Okay. Then after the planning, you elicited the requirement
which is the
from the
analysis,
stakeholder, which is the
which is the
analysis.
analysis. Yes, here.
Okay.
So what
Okay.
I'm saying is that even if I don't say these words, I
Mm-hmm.
know the activities, which is what
Mm.
matters, and you
Okay.
know them in sequence. So I'm here now. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Does that
So
make sense?
planning, yes. So planning requirement definition is also the analysis
Is
or
that the
the
analysis? It depends
or
whichever you can pick anyone. It doesn't make
yes,
any
anyone.
difference.
Yes. So requirement definition is also the elicitation of
Yes,
requirement
it's requirement
or
now. It's
analysis. Okay.
requirement, right? You are
Yes.
eliciting is just saying you are requesting,
You request it from
asking,
yes.
getting. That's what elicit means. It's like
Yes.
a beggar asking you for something. It's eliciting for donation. That's what
Yes.
elicit means,
Yes.
right?
Requirement
So
elicitation. Yes.
yeah. So design and prototyping. So the technical design will be done, and then you can now say, I then facilitated the the prototype demoing, the demoing of the prototype. But that will be actually be done by the technical consultant, not you. But you facilitate because you need to know what is happening every step of the way. That's why the role of a BA, I like it. You are involved from beginning to end. But what
Hmm.
matters is you need to understand what is your role in each of those phases.
Hmm.
Especially so you are what I call a front loader. You are heavy on the front end. You are not heavy on the back end.
Background.
So that's why you can't be saying we. No. You say I. Then you now start using, when you get here, now start using words like collaborated,
Okay.
facilitated,
Hmm.
worked with. I was part of a brainstorming session because you are not the technical person. You're a
Hmm.
BA. You can say, oh, once the design was completed, I took it and embedded it into the business requirement document, making it a full-fledged document of both business and technical requirements,
Hmm.
right? But you didn't write the technical part, but you are bringing everything together because you better have it. And then what did we do? Implementation started. That's here. You can say development. So they've designed. Then we go
Can
and
I ask?
develop what we designed. Yes,
Yes.
please.
Can I ask a question there?
Yeah.
So, at what point does it change from the business requirement document to the solution requirement document?
So those are all terminologies.
Yeah.
You can say there's no like this is exact. You can say whatever you want. There are
Hmm.
so many nomenclatures, FRS, BRD, BRS. As in, there are so many. Just know what you are saying.
Okay.
Now, when you are saying where at what point does it change? It changes when we can marry functional to technical, and then we present a harmonized solution approach.
Hmm.
So there's the functional requirement document,
Yeah.
FRD.
Okay.
There's the technical requirement document, TRD. Now, a different organization works different ways. A functional BA will write the FRD. A
Hmm.
technical resource, because let's say, for example, it's a data migration project. How
Okay.
is a BA going to write the document? He doesn't even know the half of data, except they brought a BA that has data background.
Hmm.
Because that document is going to be as technical as it gets, because they're going to start saying, where are all the data sources?
Mm-hmm.
What is the data transformation that is going to happen? Where is the data mapping? Where is the data dictionary? Where is the data transformation logic? Then you now
Hmm.
start going into databases. And God help you. Are you talking about data in the cloud? Data on-prem? Are you talking about big data? What? So that's a whole different kettle of fish. So many a times you have a technical person, it's not so much of write up like English, but they need to be able to show us with diagrams, use cases to say, this is what we are developing, the what, and
Hmm.
then the how.
Hmm.
It needs to be documented, right? Because you need to bring, before it's being implemented or the software development starts, people need to know, okay, this is what we are building. Somebody can come and say, but why are we doing it this way? This is not what we want to. Did you misunderstand? So at every gate, you also want to chip in things like you needed to ensure that there was harmonization of thoughts and ideas as we go from one phase to the other. It is you as the BA, you'll be the one setting up those meetings to make sure that the end user is aligned with the technical people. You are the one in the middle. The technical guys are saying this is what you, the BA, have told them. You are now saying, oh, the end user, subject matter experts, the people, the product users, you are now telling them this is what we are going to build based on the requirements I elicited from you. Does it make sense to you? They don't need to understand the technical jargon. And that's where prototyping comes in. If it's possible, it's not every time you can prototype. So don't throw it like as if, oh, we do it all the time. There are certain things you cannot prototype. But if you can prototype, it's just basically saying it could even be, for want of a better word, a bit of like a process flow to say, this is what we want to build. If it's a website, you say, this is a landing page. From the landing page, you can go to this page. This is what it's going to look like
And
visually.
that's
Correct?
where we use the wireframe, right?
Wireframe, Canva, whatever.
Yeah.
But now you are just talking, right? And they are making it look like as if, oh, this is what I was doing,
Hmm.
right? And then it comes to implementation or software development work. At that point, you are not doing anything. You have everybody waits. Now, at that point, you can now say, while development was going on, I collaborated with the testing team. Again, you are not the tester.
Okay.
In some instances, you could be the same person as the tester. But I like what you said. You said you did your own preliminary tests before you handed off to the tester. That's
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
But more often than not, what a BA usually does is to review the test scenarios with the testers. Because don't forget, you are going to hand over the business requirement document to the tester. They will read it. You can say you had peer review.
Background is I'm a doctor and all that, and I've never worked in any projectile
So
environment as a BE or anything.
so that's
So
why you
now,
need to be listening to someone like me.
yes, I am. Now, the challenge I'm having, or like what I desire, if it's possible,
Mhm.
is I don't even mind working without being paid. Let me just work maybe as an intern, or maybe as, or
So
maybe as,
so the
or,
thing with
or
that
maybe,
is
so
most
that let me
organizations.
see how this thing is
Yeah,
being
I know.
done
So
real
a
life.
lot of people say that, but
Mm.
unfortunately, number one, no one wants to hire somebody that they have to babysit. It's just the reality of the
You have
world.
to what? You have to,
Babysit, babysit.
okay, baby,
As
see,
in,
okay.
yeah, because you are saying, oh, I want somebody to train me, and just for me to have exposure. No, number one, if you go to a full-fledged organization,
Mm.
don't except if you are volunteering and it's
That's what I'm
clear.
saying. Yes, I can.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you have to go look, but you won't find a lot of volunteering opportunities for professional roles. Hear me
Mm.
well.
Mm.
If you want to go and volunteer for a charity organization to help them hand over flyers, that's not a professional job. You
Mm.
can do that because everybody will know that it's purely volunteer. Nobody is forcing you to do it. But because of the implication on labor laws, organizations would be weary to engage you on a professional role and not pay you. Because the first thing is that why were you engaged? Because you know what? Think about it.
Mm.
If at the end of the day, 2, 3 years after, because you didn't like how they treated you while you were volunteering, you would have forgotten that you begged them to make you a volunteer. You can come back and sue them to say that you worked with them for X number of hours over this period of time and you were never paid.
What if I sign a non-disclosure agreement, or I sign an
I know,
agreement
but
that
it all
I'm not,
depends on the
I'm
organization.
not,
So
I'm
because
not,
of all that, those are
mm.
technicalities,
Yeah.
right? And we won't be able to discuss all that here. But what I'm
No,
just saying is that that is why one of the reasons why most organizations don't do it.
don't do that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They just not that they don't want to, but they just because there are a few bad eggs, right? And because
Yeah.
of that, they will just stay clear of it. So
I
those
read
kind of
somewhere,
mhm.
yes, sorry. I read somewhere in Black Falls, some of the Black Falls document that they offer internship positions.
Yes, they do, but it's not because it's just one organization, it's evolving. So there are not, number one, there are not so many. I can't even say there are 2 or 3 positions,
Mm.
apart from maybe people that are doing session manager, people that handle the classes, and those are not professional roles. What they meant by that is there are times that the owner of the organization would maybe get a project, a Salesforce project, for example, and
Mm.
he will look within the community for people that have shown exemplary expertise. So they're not going to bring somebody who wants to use the project to learn. No,
So, yeah.
they're
Mm.
going to bring in people they believe can do the job, right? So I hear you. I'm just being very blunt that
Yeah.
those kind of opportunities are rare. They're not. It's not as if they're not there. You can be deliberate about looking for them because who knows? You can find.
Mm.
But you need to be deliberate to look and go into most of those organizations, go to their website. If they have somewhere you can write something to say, oh, I want to volunteer, whatever, whatever. Yeah. So what I was saying about Excel is, for example, you can say number one, as in just a list to say, set up temporary websites. For example,
Mm.
if I do, so this is just number. What is this one? So this will be something like task, and then you have assignee. Who is that task assigned to? In this case, it's assigned to John. Now, when is John supposed to start? So start date and due date. When is he supposed to finish? If it's something that is happening within one day, then you can
Mm.
say start time, end time.
Same
And then
time.
you want to say status. In the status will now be, it can be something like usually I use not completed, I mean, not started, which is where everything will start from. So I would go and do a list of values on another worksheet, but you will be able to see not started, in progress, and then completed. That's what I
Mm,
usually use, three statuses, so that you can pick, right? And then you have comments,
mm,
something like that.
mm,
So, and then you start saying all the tasks that needs to be done. You line
mm,
them up. Who is doing what?
mm-hmm.
Right?
Testing.
So that
Yeah.
everybody that is coming in, it can be something that will happen overnight.
Mm,
Everybody has access to this spreadsheet. As you do your stuff, you tell us, has it started? Then it
mm-hmm.
becomes in progress.
In progress. Yeah.
If it's completed, then it becomes completed. And if there are dependencies, we know that until this is done, you cannot start that one.
That next one.
On a
Can
good
this,
day, this is what
yeah.
you use Microsoft projects to do,
That's true.
right?
Can this be done on Jira?
But yeah, it can, but just to, it can, but just to keep things. So again, like I said, you can do it anywhere. So
Yeah.
the short answer is yes, it can. But like I said, on this project, we didn't have the tools, so I just had
Mm,
to go back to Excel.
Excel.
But
Okay.
what matters is the activity itself.
Is
You
is is
knowing
ongoing.
is ongoing, yeah. You knowing where to place it in that whole SDLC.
Mm,
That's what I'm saying, right? And
I
then
get
you
it.
talked about operations. Operation is now you've deployed. It's now in use. And I like the way you said you also even still continue to monitor, What I missed there was that what one of the key things you want to look into after you deploy is user adoption
Mm,
and then training. So somewhere between testing and deployment, you need to put training there. Again, you may be the one training. You can again elaborate on that to say you are the one you are the one training,
mm,
right? That you conducted training workshops. Now, training, what kind of training? Was it remote? Was it in person? What did you use? Did you, set up Zoom calls? Whatever. You say
mm,
a little bit about that. And then after you deploy, you talk about user adoption. How are people using the whatever? You can also do questionnaire. Then at the end, you can also say that you now also worked with the project management manager to facilitate a lessons learned session. So
That
at the
is
end, after the
that is
project, you
after the
do
whole project.
lessons learned. That what went well, what didn't go well, what could we have done better. So by the time you sit down and you say a story like this, wouldn't somebody at least have a semblance that this guy knows what he's saying?
Mm,
So that's what I'm saying. That it's a matter of you understanding key concepts and then being able to articulate it in the course of an interview.
yes.
Okay, so thoughts.
Okay, yes. So it's very elaborate, very elaborate, very deep, and very detailed. So it was as if I just gave a summary, but you went into each one of them one by one, elaborated on it, mentioned the names of the different, people that are involved in at different stages, and
Yeah.
okay, so
Okay. So, and that is a key piece because this is like a joker to answer almost any question.
mm,
The project is just going to be what is different. And people always ask me, oh, but Mike, how are you able to just come up with stories? Because I can come up with any story, any project. It's irrelevant.
yes,
Whether it happened, it didn't happen, it's irrelevant. And you can come up with any story as even what you do on your day to day. When you woke up today, did you just, remove your brain and started living your life? No. You have to plan. What am I doing today? Am I going to work? Am I working from home? Do I need to get to the bus stop at this time? That's a project in its own.
mm,
So it's not about the project, but at least you want to say something that will make you believable. That is what is important. Okay. All
yes,
right.
yeah, yeah.
Time is running pretty fast. So let me see if I can. Now, since you went through those questions, I will bring it here so that let's try to maximize. So, is there like one, two, or three that you feel like, and even for some of them, I may not also have the best of answers, that you would like us to look at while we are here?
The last, this question 4.
Okay.
How how have you re-engineered a business process? I know
Yeah, no,
we
that's okay.
discussed this question. One of those questions you asked me, which was, I think it was question 6. You already asked me question 6 last time.
Hmm.
Yes, we discussed about question 6, vendor relationship during an implementation project. So I don't think we should, well, I don't think we need to go back to that again, abi?
You mean this one? So
Question
what
6.
this? Oh, sorry, question 6. No, if I asked you before, then no, we don't need to go. How would you have? Yes, we already talked about that, right?
Yes,
So you were talking about question 4. How
yes.
did you re-engineer a business? So in my previous I led a project to re-engineer the project's procurement process by mapping out the existing, identify bottlenecks, and introduce automation tools in there, which significantly reduce lead times and improve data accuracy. Now, let me ask you, can you think of any? So this is more like process improvement. So don't let the word re-engineer scare you.
Yeah.
What we are just saying is that something was working like this. You were part of a team that did it to work another way, and it was because of you getting something good out of it. That's all we are saying.
Mm,
So you need a story to say something was like this, we made it like that, and why, and what did we achieve? That's all they're asking here.
mm,
So the question is, do you have a story?
mm,
So that's where when you see things like this, you can literally, if I were you can literally get this like this and throw this question, massage it, make it a bit more detailed, throw it back into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT can even bring a proper example for you. And look at what he said. It's just that don't use an example that you can't comfortably speak about. Like when they say companies procurement process, I don't know procurement that much.
mm,
So if there's somebody on the panel that knows procurement and they now throw one question at you, they use one terminology that you don't understand, that then makes, yeah, and if that now breaks you, then you know what that has done. It now puts to question everything you said up until that point.
mm.
And you don't want that. So don't use terminologies that you are not comfortable with, or don't talk about projects in a domain that you know nothing about. So this
Can
is
I,
just an example.
yes, I get. Can I ask a question? So
Yeah,
I back again to the position they are looking for, financial systems,
yeah,
business analysts in the financial systems. There are different softwares or different terminologies that are used in the financial domain,
okay.
and just as I said before, I'm thinking that the reason why my resume was picked is because of my current role in TD Bank. TD Bank is a financial organization. So they feel that, no, this guy should be well grounded in the financial sector. But now, the
Mm-hmm.
only projects that I can speak to, which I mean,
That's
myself,
finance in it. Mm-hmm.
yes, myself and my trainer, we worked on that. We worked on that project.
Yeah,
Last one, this first one, enhancement of an AML web-based tool for transaction monitoring related to STR and so anti-money laundering and all that. I
okay,
gave
yeah,
me videos so I can
okay.
speak to that.
So
But
that's
all the
very good. Mm-hmm.
yes, then
So what I would say, I'm just in the interest of time,
yeah,
that try to have your story around that project. And
okay,
now that we've looked at the principle of using SDLC,
okay,
craft your story around SDLC for
yeah,
that project. It's just that
okay.
ideally, I always tell people go in with at least 3 projects that
Three
you can
projects.
speak
Okay,
to,
okay.
because you don't want to be repeating, oh, this project, that same project. Because when they
Yes.
ask you a question, you can use one project in like two instances,
Instance.
depending
Okay,
on the question. But you just
okay.
don't have only one project. Like, you said you worked on 4 projects. Why is it that you're only talking about one?
That one. Okay. So maybe I can pick this first project in Citibank, the
Yeah.
AML. I can go to AstraZeneca, pick the first one to the
Yeah,
digital
whatever, anyone you
outpatients.
want to pick. Yes.
Yes.
So you must
Then maybe
always
pick.
have, that's why I say, have like 3 or 4 that you
Mm-hmm.
can speak to. And then
Speak
depending
to.
on the question, you just pick it up
Pick it
and
up.
say, this brings to mind, or this, I recall, when I was on this project at blah, 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 whatever. And then you start talking. And then
Mm-hmm.
again, always use the SDLC. Now, you
Yes.
may not have to go into the details all the time, but maybe the very first time You
Yeah.
want to go into those details so that you want to show them that you know it, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then the way you are saying finance, 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 when I look at the JD, we've looked at finance from top to bottom. That was
Mm.
the only, so I won't be too, so again, we don't know what they're going to ask, right? But what I'm
Yep.
saying from the JD, they're not looking for somebody that has finance knowledge per se.
Mm-hmm.
From the beginning to end, there's nothing finance. It's mostly, so this is all BA. This BA, BA, BA. This project coordinator slash PM. This also BA slash PM. BA slash PM. This is mostly like PM, where you're performing cost benefit analysis and return on investment. Then QA, you are collaborating. That's what they said. They don't
With
ask you to
Tesla.
know QA. You are
Mm.
working with them. Conduct research, that's BA. Provide orientation and training, BA. Meet with clients, BA. Manage supplier, BA. That's why we talked about vendor relationship. So it's all BA. But they want somebody, because he's senior, right? So once you start saying senior BA, you should be as good as a PM.
Mm.
That's why you see a lot of PM stuff in there. And they are
Mm-hmm.
saying, and then again, going back to your resume, they saw that you had PMP because they are looking. So
Mm.
somebody is sitting down looking at your resume too to say, this guy has PMP. We better call him. Maybe that's one of them because this is huge.
Hmm. Well, I did now. I'm
I know,
not
but it's okay.
getting
You go. I mean, they're not going to beat you up, right? So you can
Yeah.
see these are minimum, they even say minimum requirements. So maybe this is one of the reasons why they called you.
Hmm.
That
They
PMP
didn't even put
certificate.
they didn't even put CBAP there. So
Yeah, they didn't put CBAP, they put PMP, right?
PMP. Hmm.
CPA is an asset. So they're expecting that you have some financial background,
Yeah.
right? BA
Mm-hmm.
certification. Do you know what the three core pillars of project management is? It's okay to say
Um,
no.
yeah, time,
Mm-hmm.
do a project within time,
Mm-hmm.
within budget,
Mm-hmm.
and time within budget, and
And
within
quality. Quality is the
quality.
third one. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay,
Quality is the third one.
okay,
As in, quality means expectation. What you promise is what you deliver,
okay.
right? Because if you do it on time, it's on budget, and it was crap, nobody's
Mm,
going to accept it, right? That's where quality comes in. And I always tell people that when you see a PM, even though there are three core deliverables, but the PM most often than not focuses on time and budget.
and budget.
They don't focus on quality.
The
That's where
quality now
somebody
depends on the
like me,
BA.
yes,
Mm,
yes, that's where somebody like me comes in. So I come in as a test lead. I'm wearing the hat of a BA, and I'm also
mm,
wearing the hat of a project manager.
mm,
So I'm telling you that if quality is not at its best, we're not going to deploy to production. Now,
good.
if you insist that we have to deploy, then you would approve that deployment. I'm not going to approve it.
Mm,
Because when we deploy and something goes wrong, the first person they're going to come for is the project manager to ask, was
mm,
this tested or what happened?
mm-hmm.
Now, when the project manager is not able to answer, the next
BA.
person they are coming to, no, it's not the BA, it's the test lead.
Okay.
Test lead. There's always test. There are testers, there are test lead. I'm not tester. I'm test lead. So I need
Mm,
to come back and show evidence what was tested and what was not tested and what was my recommendation to go live
with your document.
with my
Mm,
document. So I can tell them and say that I didn't recommend this to go live and there's
mm,
evidence to show. And if I did, I would say that this was tested. Somebody reported to me that it was tested because I'm not the one testing. At my level, I really don't test anymore.
okay.
So, but I have evidence to show that somebody said, I tested this and it passed. And I know the person's name. So we'll call that person.
What if the person is no longer in the
And
organization?
that's a different kettle of fish. Then the person, but it's not like, it's not, what I'm saying is a blame game now, but we are
That's
doing it professionally.
it's not, yeah.
Everybody has their job.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take, I can't take fault for you not doing your
No,
job. No,
that's true.
that's not professional.
Yep.
My job was to ensure you did your job and you told me you did your job. That's good enough for me.
And you don't need, as a test lead, you don't need to verify.
No, no, no. You don't understand. You tested, you showed me evidence. I mean, no, I don't know everything, don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
You showed me evidence that it worked. You documented that it passed. It's on record, whether in Jira, in Asana, in whatever tool we are using. Even if it's in Excel, you said
Yeah.
passed and completed.
Yep.
That's good enough for me.
Mm.
Now, the question is, we'll now call you, what did you test? Then you have to answer, right?
Mm.
So I'm just saying that, there are different levels, right? I'm not saying that I just want to pass the buck. But what I'm saying at the end of the day, that everybody's accountable, right? So so what I was wanting to pull out of project management was that time and budget is something that the PM focuses on. They don't focus on quality. And that's why the whole concept of testing about 2 decades ago became a very big issue.
Mm.
Because up until then, developers were the one doing the tests. We didn't
Yeah.
have dedicated testers.
That's us.
And things were put to production, and before long, things were breaking. And the question
Crashing
was,
down. Mm.
what was tested? Who tested it? When you are the same person implementing something, designing and developing it, and you are the same person testing it, most likely there will be a lot of misses.
That's
Because you can
true.
imagine
Then
you
you're
examining
biased.
yourself.
Mm.
Exactly, you're biased. So that was when the concept of testing came up. Even though we have gone full circle now, because now they are now bridging testing and development. And that's where the principle of DevOps came up.
Mm.
So now
Okay.
we've gone full circle after 2 decades. Organizations don't want just testers anymore. They want developers that can wear a testing hat.
Testing
But
hard.
anyway, that's a whole different conversation. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that two things that I can call out from here. So another way they've talked about finance is this, and it was one of the questions that was in that document. So I will
Mm-hmm.
say that go online, because I don't know this as well. Go online or YouTube and try to find something on this application. Again, like I
Mm-hmm.
tell everybody, everything is just 30 seconds away. Don't tell me I don't know,
Mm.
right? OneStream, that's the software. What is OneStream? Which companies use OneStream? How does OneStream work? Just read it. OneStream integrates seamlessly with your existing accounting software and financial system, eliminating the need for. That's what it does. So
Mm.
it's like an integration platform that you can take data from your existing accounting software, or maybe maybe if you are doing Salesforce, but you are not doing Salesforce really, you are just doing CBAP. We have tools for imputing data. Instead of doing manual data entry, what do they call? You can import data using a bulk tool. But what I'm trying to say is that you can go and read a little bit. What I usually do, I watch videos. I try to go for short videos, not
Mm.
long, because all you need is just don't go and you're not going to tell them, oh, we use OneStream where I work. If you don't do that.
Yeah. Sorry.
So what you can say is that I use data. I just use. Use data means, oh, you have access to, a portal where you can check people's whatever. Maybe you want to check your customer, when did they purchase something. You're just using the data. You are not
Mm.
the one like creating, managing, storing. That which is what all this is for. I don't think you'll be able to. If you can, that's great. These are different reporting methodologies. SSIS, SSRS, SA, they are all doing different things.
Mm.
And then databases, Microsoft SQL, Oracle data, they're all different databases. So
Yep.
if you can't speak to it, again, like I said, this whole process, don't forget, is a learning process for you.
Mm.
Nobody is coming back to score you. Oh, you did 40%, you failed. No, there's no failure. It's a process. It's a
Mm.
learning process. Okay. So I'm just calling them out as in, I can't speak to them here because again, I don't want to overload you. But what
Yep.
I usually do is what I just explained. Something you don't know at all, pick it up, go to YouTube, go and look for a short video. Don't go and look for video 30 minutes, 1 hour. No, short video under 10 minutes that will just give you an idea
Mm.
what it is. That's all. So
So
that you
I
don't
know.
answer, I don't know.
Yeah. So I know a bit about SQL. I mean, I know some of the SQL queries. Select query, this query, that query.
Yeah,
But I don't know anything about SSIS,
yeah,
all
they are
those
they
new
are
ones.
they are reporting methodologies.
Mm.
Yeah. So as
Okay.
you can see, we are literally 1 hour 45 minutes on the clock. And this is why I tell people book 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
And I wish you can go and be telling people. Because when I tell people book 2 hours, they feel like it's just because of the money.
Beyond, way beyond. It's very
So
deep.
so that's what I tell. But people don't know, right? Until they come. Because people just feel like, $50 an hour. He said I should go and book 2 hours, $100. I don't have money. Look at us now. This 1 hour, 43 minutes on the clock.
Last time too, we spent more than that.
So
So
that's what I'm saying.
when I finish, if I have the opportunity of speaking during the session, I will say I will say it out.
Thank you.
Mhm.
When people come, that's when they realize, right? But it's just
Mhm.
that they won't know until they come.
Until they come, that's it.
Yeah, that's the time. People just feel like, why am I asking for 2 hours?
Mhm.
This is why, right? So I
Mhm.
think we have to wrap it up here. But
Mhm.
key thing that I want you to take away, don't put yourself under too much pressure.
Okay.
Don't do that. Like you said, this is your first interview in a while.
Yes. In a while.
Enjoy the process.
Okay.
Now, does that mean you shouldn't prepare to the best of your ability? Absolutely, you should. Beyond everything we've done here, like I said, that's why I don't like doing interview prep a day before this. So you still have tomorrow.
Yeah.
Anything that is obscure to you here, like I said again, we can go and we can do this. Very simple. Nobody should be saying, I don't know.
I
There's
don't
nothing
know.
like that.
Hmm.
That's a wrong answer for any question. Do this. These are all of them. Video, SQL Server training, 2 minutes, 30 seconds.
Hmm.
That's where I will start.
Hmm.
Now, this one is now saying 17 minutes. Okay, it has a bit of tutorial. Okay, 17 minutes is not a lot. You see, explained in 20 minutes.
Hmm.
Now, this one is they are installing. You don't need this. You can pick this one and watch it. What does
Okay.
it cost you to watch 20 minutes video?
Of course, you watch it.
You watch it. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So nobody should be, even me, I may not know it now, but nobody should say, I don't know it. Mr. Michael Boyo, what is, no, don't ask me what is question. That's stupid. That's for Google. Okay? All right.
Hmm. Okay.
So I
There's a
hope so. Finally,
yeah.
what's your parting remarks?
Yeah. So there's a question I
Spent
want
like
to ask.
about 3 hours with me now, 3 hours of my life.
There's a question I want to ask in the JD.
Yeah,
Let me see, where's JD again?
yeah.
So this minimum of 6 years of work experience as a system analyst, project, business analyst, IT project in a manufacturing environment. So
So,
I will
mhm,
say this. Last year, immediately after my first training, I told you this is my third training now.
yeah, yeah.
After my first training, the resume that they did for us then too, everything was just looking obscure. So I started throwing it, and I got one interview too. It was in the manufacturing environment too. They manufacture industrial gloves, all
Okay,
these very thick gloves, and they wanted the BA. Of course, I didn't know nothing, so I was just blabbing throughout the interview.
okay,
I was just blabbing. But I
okay,
remember that they wanted someone that is grounded as a BA in the manufacturing environment, and they were asking me some specific things, specific terminologies and lingua that they use in the manufacturing environment. I'm guessing that this is also going to be the same thing.
okay.
Do
Wish you all the
everything
best.
humanly, yeah. Do
Yeah, and then
everything,
keep me posted.
yeah.
Um, After the interview, let's do a debrief. That can just be a phone call,
Okay.
just to kind of, and then towards the end, always ask for next steps, right? What are the next steps? As in, when do you expect to hear from them? And what I will do also, and remind me if I don't remember, I will send you a link on my Google folder to questions you can ask. I'll just send you a link. I have
Okay.
about 20 odd questions you can ask at the end of
After
an
the
interview. Somebody say,
interview,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
questions to ask, and you can, pick from them whatever you feel comfortable to.
I can
So,
even ask them one already said that LinkedIn Wealth Wish Fund for Children. That's a question
oh,
already.
okay. But I'm
Okay.
even saying, the kind of questions that would also get them thinking,
Thank you. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Mm.
So, okay. All right then. Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Michael.
much. Yeah,
I
you're
appreciate it.
welcome. So I'm
All
going
right.
to stop the recording now.